morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and we're post-1776, just plain living right here.
Good morning. I'm Peggy Burton.
And I'm Jim Fuller. And
Hi,
I'm glad
guys.
to see you guys survived all that.
I just swam
you know?
over.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
got my rowboat out and just rowed out of the house.
Yeah.
That's it. It's been wet,
Very wet. Frogs are jumping, and the cotton is high.
and the cotton, and not yet. Not quite yet.
John says the frogs attract snakes, so if I were you, I'd get rid of them.
Listen, I got 10 out of the pool before I left this morning.
Frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little old guys. I hated that they die in there, but anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on. What about the Predators?
Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Nashville's just exploding.
Who would have thought that, goodness gracious.
Well, the talking heads say they've outplayed the Penguins in every game. They just hadn't outscored them.
Right.
So it's even territory. It's a 3-game
gonna be an
series right
exciting
now.
game.
And
Right.
They're going back to Cleveland for 2 games.
Right.
No, it's not
It's
Cleveland.
a 7-game.
Then what happens?
No, it's not Cleveland. Where is it? We don't even know.
Pittsburgh.
Don't ask me.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
that's right.
I'm in another
Penguins.
time zone.
Yeah.
7-game
I'm
series.
proud of them.
But
Very proud.
Nashville's just crazy. They've got
CMA Awards.
CMA week this week. It's of course the Preds are leaving to go play the next game up there, but all that happened there. Bonnaroo's happening at the weekend. And it's kind of funny because I listen to WSM-AM and they report on all the country music stuff and everything, and they're talking about what's happening in Nashville, and Bonnaroo's brought up just as much as CMA. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's not happening in Nashville, but it's happening within driving distance in Nashville. So
There's going to be a lot of people in Tennessee, in Middle Tennessee.
Oh, heavens, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to just stay in Tullahoma.
You staying in Tullahoma? We've got to go to Nashville on Friday. Well, no, we don't have to go Friday. I'm going to take Fran. Fran's going to Connecticut this weekend.
Is it that?
To the Beatrix Potter Society annual meeting.
And you're not going?
No.
You know that used to would have been a real problem if Fran went off and left John for the weekend.
She wouldn't know what to do.
Jimmy.
Or he would have run off.
Jimmy.
But right now, it's no problem.
Yeah.
It's no problem anymore.
Too long.
I'll tell you another thing.
Too long in the tooth for it to be a problem.
About technology. One of my granddaughters was at my house Friday night after Saturday night, and something came up about her sister and her mother, where they were. She says, "I don't know. I'll check." And she gets out her phone, and they've got some app that tells you where
they
everybody
are.
in the family
Which
is.
GPS?
Which is really good.
Yeah. It's just GPS principled, and so she knew right where everybody
It's a whole
was,
different
and
world,
you know, so.
And not only she knows where everybody is, but somebody out there
Yeah.
knows where everybody is.
I was thinking of John when I was looking at that. I'm thinking, man, I'm glad they didn't have that when we were young.
They had to hunt you down.
Yeah, right.
Think of what Gazella would have done if she'd have had one of those when she was looking for poop. Charlie.
These are friends of ours that actually are from Tullahoma, but he's talking about instances in Atlanta. They'd just gotten married. That would have put Charlie at a disadvantage, big time. Charlie would like to leave home and go out and have a few drinks and such, but however, he had other accomplices. I remember his wife, Gazelle, would kill me if she ever if she watched it. But even after all these years, but she came by and to enlist my help in finding Charlie. He'd been missing for a while, and I pretty much thought I knew where he was. And there was a Holiday Inn down the street from the hotel that I ran, and so that was my first stop. I walked in there, and he was sitting in there having a beer, and I went in and spoke to him, and then I left and said, "Well, he's not in there. We'll have to look somewhere else, And after,
You guys.
And after about 2 hours, I got tired of looking for him, so I went back to that Holiday Inn and said, "You're going to have to go home."
People are looking for you.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
Oh my goodness.
So
listen,
summertime's
I
here.
want to mention before I get off the air that South Jackson Goes Country auditions are this weekend also, part of the
music
rampage
festival.
that's
Music.
going on.
You
Music.
try to run it all in there together,
Yeah,
don't you?
we're at 2 o'clock on Sunday the 11th and 6 p.m. on Monday at the South Jackson Civic Center.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you've been in it 9,000 times, come and audition because that writes the show. Whatever it is they do, that's how I write the show.
Yeah.
Very good.
So if you want to
Very
sing,
good.
sing a
then,
song or whatever you want to do, maybe you want to dance, maybe you want to do comedy, but
commercials.
Come in.
Commercial help.
Yeah.
And then the PAC camp, it starts what, next week?
it starts
week.
this
Is
week,
it
I
this
think.
week?
This
Yeah.
Thursday.
This Thursday, and it's 2 weeks of camp,
At the
learning
Civic
about
Center.
theater, all the things that go on a stage, and that's done by the PAC group. It's called, I think it's called Camp Impact.
Right.
This year
Performing
is what
arts
they're
for
calling
children
it.
and teens,
And it's, I think it's $40 for 2 weeks.
which is phenomenal.
And it's from 8 o'clock until noon with a snack.
A
And they-
babysitter for 2 weeks.
Yeah, well,
I think it sounds good to me.
yeah,
if
for
I
sure.
had
But
children.
they learn all about the stage.
do.
They learn about makeup. They learn about set construction. They learn about sound and lights. They learn how to act on the stage. They learn what it takes to handle props and the curtain and just all kinds of stuff.
That's handled by Eric and
Erica,
Erica, and maybe
All kinds of them. They have all
several.
kinds
They
of
have
help.
apprentices, and
Right,
anyway,
right.
Erica, who teaches over at Coffee County High School, does a wonderful job. She's a great singer, and they do a good job.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Right.
they do. So, if you're looking for something for your youngster to do, and that I think they start as young as 5 or 6.
I think 5. But
5
don't
start from
quote
5
me.
to
Don't quote me. I got other things on my mind.
to 12 or 13
Yeah.
or something like that. So call Fran over at the office or go by there. It's 455-5321 and find out about that.
There goes my phone. I
Yeah.
hear it ringing.
You know,
That's
that's
okay.
all right.
next weekend, by the way,
Thank you, Amy.
is the,
We can't hear it ringing.
That's right. Well, we can't hear it. We can't hear anything. Next weekend, by the way, is the Southern Wheels in Motion car show that they have every year. This is going to be a huge show this year, and they have 3 of the stars from the Dukes of Hazzard are going to be there this year.
Oh.
Cool.
They've actually had John Snyder 3 or 4 years ago,
I remember.
and
Nice
this
young
year they got John Snyder, Tom Wopat,
Really?
and Catherine Bach. And I forget what her character was. Remember, she was a
Yeah.
young lady that ran around in the really short shorts.
In
Daisy.
short-
Daisy Duke.
Daisy Duke.
Yeah, Daisy
that's
Duke.
right. Yeah, right. And,
I mean, she was that name Daisy Duke became a term
yeah,
Right.
to define
Have you
those
got
shorts.
on your Daisy Dukes?
You
Yeah.
got your Daisy Dukes on.
When is
Yeah.
that?
That's next weekend, the 17th,
17th.
Saturday the 17th at Wagner Park.
Next
And
fall, the
and
following
all 3 of
weekend.
them will be there. I think they'll be signing autographs, and hopefully we'll
that'd be
be able to
exciting.
get an interview with them. as
You know,
well.
that used to be on the grounds of South Jackson, and it was fun when it was over there, but it got so big
Yeah, it did.
that there wasn't enough room for
That's a
them.
daytime event, right?
Saturday afternoon. All right, I think he starts about 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually a car show too. The car show is a wonderful car show.
lot
You
going
love
on.
you love that, but just to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, and there are always some fantastic cars over
No,
there.
there is.
Oh, they're
There is.
beautiful.
And they'll have some replicas of the General Lee there as well. You know, there's a few of those still around. So I
guess
think John
people
Snyder
come,
may actually own one. I'm not sure, but
People come from
If
all
he
over
wants
the
one, he
United
probably
States.
will.
Don't people
Yeah.
come from all over the United States?
Yeah,
to
they
this
do.
thing?
They do. They do. Absolutely.
So, and
There's-
speaking about cars and antiques and stuff like that, we have David Pennington on with us today. And,
David knows a thing or two about antiques.
and
you know.
he was on national television last night on the History Channel.
Aren't you proud
on
of
the
David?
Pickers?
Oh, we've had to see that.
He has made the big time. Now
I know.
he's kind of played around here with us and other local Nashville stations and all that
You think
all
he'll
over the
speak to
years.
us now?
But now he has absolutely made nationwide television.
Great.
Nationwide
I love
TV. What
Did
did
I
you
hear
say,
him say
David?
that there were
4.5 million
4.5
watched
million
it
people watched that. Yeah.
last night.
Yeah.
And those guys go and I was watching some of the shows prior to that before we went on the air with Tennessee Traveler, and it was all about cars and motorcycles and these places that these guys go to try to find old, unique things. And they ended up in Manchester, Tennessee at David Pennington's warehouse.
Sure. Why not?
And Jimmy's going to interview David about this, but I want to say one thing, folks. He held his own with these guys who travel the United States and are some of the best there is at buying and selling and trading. And you will be proud of David. He handled himself well.
That's wonderful.
I would expect nothing less.
Me either.
He handled
I can't
himself
say I'm
well.
surprised at all by that.
There was one sign they were looking at, and they liked this sign, and they said, well, is that a two-sided sign? And they went around the other side and said, well, this side's not so pretty. And David said, come around here and look at it from over here. This is the side you need to be looking at. And they bought that sign, didn't they? It was a radio sign out of Georgia.
Yeah.
But it was great. So you make sure and watch the History Channel and see our good friend, former county mayor and possibly future county mayor, David Pennington.
Right.
And
unless he gets signed to a movie contract,
I know.
he's a candidate for county mayor. Now,
he was good enough for these guys. They might pick him up and let him travel with them.
Well, I'd stack his knowledge of antiques up with anybody.
Pretty good,
Yeah,
pretty good,
I mean, I'd bet on David.
Well, folks, I tell you what, we're going to have an exciting show for you today. Don't go away. Watch this quick commercial break, and we'll be back with today's show.
The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new Owner Advantage program. It starts as simple as your first year's maintenance is included with the purchase. We have 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plans available. Car detailing, car rental, collision repair. Stop by one of our 5 locations and let one of our certified sales staff tell you all about it. The Russell Barnett Automotive Family Advantage program. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday Miracles, Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is our segment we refer to. It's Police Pointers, and joining me as always for this segment is Paul Blackbill, Tullahoma Police Chief.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing today, Paul?
Doing great, doing great.
Exciting things, I'm sure, are happening in the Tullahoma Police Department. That's great. You probably would do this job for free because there's so much fun that goes in it, fun things.
There's a lot of fun.
Stuff.
It's very, you still got to pay some bills. So.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about it.
I think my wife would have to say something about me not helping support the family.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
But it is it's an enjoyable job. It's a rewarding job. I've been doing it about 35 years, and it's a long time. And I still enjoy going to work every day and look forward to it. And
have you done this kind of work ever since you got out of the Marine Corps, or did you have other jobs, real jobs?
Real jobs. Okay. I wasn't a fireman.
Oh, okay, all right.
I got out of the Marine Corps and I went back to college and got my degree in criminal justice, and then I got hired on with a police department out in Oklahoma, and that began my police career. But of course, at the same time, at 18, I joined the Marine Corps, and so throughout my adult life, I've been in the military, either on active duty or in the reserve component.
Right.
At the same time of being in law enforcement.
Was your career in the military associated in any way with police work?
When I got out of college, I transitioned over to the military police corps.
I see.
So yes, it was in the military police from the point I graduated college until I retired from the reserves.
Is that something you always wanted to do? I mean, that you were always focused on, or did you
My father was a career Army soldier, so we traveled a lot, and that's what I grew up in. So like most kids, you tend to follow the footsteps of one of your parents. And when I joined the Marine Corps, I went to college initially after high school for one semester, and said this isn't for me. So I joined the Marine Corps, and did that. And then when my Marine Corps time was up, I was ready to go back to college. And then once I was in college, I decided, okay, I missed the military, and so I got back into it in the reserve component, at the same time getting my degree and getting into law enforcement. So I probably knew in my teenage years I was either going to be military or police or a combination of both. And it's worked out well for me.
You've spent a lot of years doing that. I just wonder, have you ever been in a harrowing situation where you thought somebody could get hurt doing this?
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes you know it at the time, sometimes you know it after the fact.
Yeah.
I can think of instances where one night in Oklahoma, one of my fellow officers stopped a car way out in the country, and there were two people in the car. And I went and backed him up, and we ended up arresting both of them for some serious gun charges. But they had told him that had I not showed up, they were making plans to jump him. But when I got there and it became 2-on-2, that they chose not to.
Oh man!
So you find that out after the fact, but it could have been very terrible at that point. And there's stories I sit and I think, man, we could write books, not just me, but anyone that's done law enforcement could write books of things where you were scared to death. And I sometimes tell the story. We were chasing a guy that had burglarized a house. This was in Oklahoma, and we chased him down an alley, and we believed he ran into a vacant house. So 3 or 4 of us went in and searched the house, and then we thought we heard noises in the attic. So a friend of mine said, I'll go up in the attic. So we kind of helped him get up to one of those where your attic, you slide the cover over and climb up. As soon as he reached up to grab it, the whole ceiling fell in on him. So we're laughing.
My goodness.
The guy wasn't in the house, but so we're laughing up at, had there been someone in there, we couldn't have done anything because we were laughing so hard. But that was the lighthearted part of it.
Sure.
And and there were other instances where, you really were scared.
Right.
That you had to rely on your training and other people to come through it okay. So 35 years, there's a lot of stories you can tell, but
I imagine
the majority of the things that you've done to help people, those are the things that you really look back on your career and say, I've impacted somebody in a good way.
Absolutely, and that's got to be gratifying.
And that's the gratifying part.
Yeah.
Like we've said before, we can teach people to write tickets and arrest people. What it becomes a trait is when you learn to have compassion with people and to try to help them.
Yeah.
So that's the rewards.
Right.
Yeah.
We better get back to the topic we started with.
That's a good topic though, because it's a question that oftentimes gets asked. When you meet someone for the first time and they find out you're either a soldier or a policeman, they want to ask about what have you done exciting. And and again, I've told you many a times that law enforcement can be characterized by hours of sheer boredom, accented by moments of extreme excitement.
And that is an excellent characterization of what you do.
It is.
I can just see that.
Yeah. So,
because there's a lot of times nothing's happening.
You're driving around, you're waving at people, you're trying to build relationships,
right?
And then you're waiting for that moment when you've got to kick it into high gear.
That whole dynamic, I'm sure, can switch in a moment, in a second.
Yeah. I sometimes equate it to when you play baseball. I played baseball in high school and everything, and when you're playing a position, shortstop, second base, and the coach is always telling you, what are you going to do if the ball gets hit to you?
Right.
Same thing in police work. What am I going to do if?
Yeah.
And you're thinking about that as you're driving down the road. so that when you get that call, when you get that ball hit to you, you know how you're going to respond.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you get to the point, at best I remember from my baseball career, that after a while that just becomes second nature. You become comfortable in how to handle these particular situations, knowing that there's going to be that one factor you don't know, and that's what you have to deal with. But for the most part, you're going to treat it the same way each time, but also be aware that something's going to be different about Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I don't want to say it's like playing baseball, but it's the same type preparation.
Sure.
Domestic disputes. You know how you know the principle of how to handle it. You just have to now deal with, okay, what are the base? What's the base situation?
Right.
What do I do with it when I get there? And it's once you get that, just as in baseball, you become much more comfortable in your field and what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
That wasn't what we were going to talk about.
That wasn't our topic.
What I want to just talk about, have you noticed Jackson Street getting repaved? Looks really good, and that road rides real well. Hopefully the next few days, if the weather cooperates, they'll be able to finish that up, get the striping done, and get the barrels out of the way. But that looks real. I enjoy really driving Jackson Street.
Yeah.
But now on a serious or a sad note, we need the public's help. We had Saturday, the city and several and the state dedicated a bridge out at Short Springs Natural Park. A nice bridge over one of the little gorges. Well, on Friday, somebody tried to burn that bridge. They went out and they set a fire on the bridge the day before the dedication. So we're asking now the public to help us.
Was the bridge damaged?
Not to where it wasn't usable.
Right.
There was some staining and scarring of it from the fire, but just the whole idea of that vandalism, that maliciousness. Useless.
Yeah.
So we're asking people, if you know anything about it, if you were out there, you saw someone around the bridge trying to start a little fire, let us know, because it's minor in the scheme of things, but it's major in why would you do it?
Right.
And so we'd like to get some leads on that and try to hold the person responsible or people that caused this damage.
And what should they do if they have knowledge
call the police
of that?
department. Call
the 3411 number?
No, we'd rather them call headquarters.
Okay.
Which is 455-0530.
Okay.
And speak to a detective and let them know what they know.
Right.
And if not, leave a name and number where we can call you back. But we're going to need help on, obviously it's a secluded area. So we're going to have to rely on those people that were out there during the time. Did you see something, or if you've heard somebody talking about it, let us know.
Did somebody come upon it and put it out, or did it go out?
Another family came up on it. They'd crossed the bridge at one point and there was no damage. Then when they were coming back across the bridge, the fire was there, and they summoned the fire department and everything. So hopefully we can narrow that time frame down, and maybe get somebody that was out there that can call us and give us some information.
Okay, because that's totally
there's no reason for that at all.
Yeah.
If you don't like the bridge, don't use it.
Right.
I mean, go somewhere else.
But a lot of people will get enjoyment out of that.
A lot of people will.
That's a shame. The number is 455-0530, by the way.
That's correct.
And speak to one of the detectives in the Tullahoma Police Department.
Right. We appreciate it. Any help we can get on that.
That's right.
All
Paul,
right.
thank you for coming by today. We'll be right back with more Living right after this.
Partners for Healing provides medical care to the working uninsured of Coffee, Franklin, and Moore counties. We are in Tullahoma from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursdays, and in Manchester on Fridays from 8 to 12. We provide primary medical care and offer an in-house disease management program.
My name is Rosie Mitchell, and I would just like to say I am blessed to have partners in my life.
Please call 455-5014 for more information. Thank you for being one of our Partners for Healing.
Hello, this is Janie Price. When my husband Ray Price would tour across the country, his favorite place to dine was Cracker Barrel Old Country Store locations. His favorite thing to order was the Uncle Herschel.
And the beauty of it all is forever, you'll be holding me to.
I miss Ray dearly, and I'm so proud that his last album, Beauty Is the Final Session, is available at his favorite restaurant.
A love affair to remember.
The project includes a duet with Martina McBride and harmony vocals from Vince Gill. Ray believed this to be the best recording he had ever made.
Oh, I wish I was 18 again.
I think you'll agree when you pick up your copy of Beauty Is the Final Sessions at a Cracker Barrel Old Country Store location near you or at crackerbarrel.com.
A world without breast cancer is a world with more birthdays. And signing up for the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk will help us get there faster. The American Cancer Society invests in groundbreaking breast cancer research, and we're part of every community. In fact, 1 in 2 women newly diagnosed with breast cancer turns to us for support. Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org. Together, we can finish the fight against breast cancer.
Welcome back. I'm on the set today with Imogene Smith, and she is here to talk about the exciting 45th anniversary of the Coffee County Senior Association. And so what's happening next?
Well, we have a band that's coming this afternoon to play some.
What kind of band is that?
It's a Bob, I forgot his last name.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Bob band.
They're just coming. Country or
and have
jazz?
refreshment. They play and dance or whatever. Then we have another one.
Is that what this poster's about?
That's the fish fry
Saturday fish fry. Oh, wow. Does somebody in the group catch all the fish?
Well, now, I don't know. Some of them may have, but I don't think.
It's Saturday from 11 until 2 o'clock, and it's got the Highland Baptist Bluegrass Quartet.
Right. They will be there about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
To play and sing for us.
And it's cost how much?
$10.
That's a good deal, and you get a meal, don't you?
You get a meal with
You get
that.
meal, music.
Right.
Mischief, all kinds of good
have
things.
a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun all week.
I know you've had something going on every night almost, haven't you?
Yes, we have.
What's the last thing you did was
we have
Friday.
Friday was open house from 1 to 3. Had a wonderful turnout.
Oh, that's good.
And then Saturday night we had the Utopia band, and they were there, and it was a good turnout for that.
Good.
And yesterday it was a kitchen band.
A kitchen band? Is that
well,
mean
that's his name.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Kitchen,
I was thinking about playing a washboard.
That's what somebody
I had a kitchen band
else
going.
thought too. Anyway, he was there. They were there, and that was good. So then today we have another one coming.
You're listed as the fundraising volunteer and chairman, which
I
is,
get those zeros added all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful what you're doing, and 45 years of being in
open.
Our town.
Yes.
To celebrate all the people in Coffee County, which reaches Manchester and wherever, right?
Yes,
I
and
know
it's
you're
a
always
good
looking
place to go.
It is a good
when
place.
you live by yourself and you can go and talk to people, have a meal with them, enjoy it.
Well, I take the ballroom dance class.
Yeah, I know.
And that's on Tuesdays, and today it's going to be at 2 o'clock, by the way. So anybody that wants to come, it's free. It's a great deal.
All of it's free this week except the fish fry. We do charge for the meal on Saturday.
And in the fish fry, you probably have French fries and
fish, hush puppies, beans, slaw, desserts of all kinds. People are donating.
Now, do you have to be a member to come to the fish fry?
No.
You can just come and pay your $10 and eat
or
anytime.
Get a ticket ahead of time if you want to.
Get a ticket ahead of time.
Well,
that is a real good deal, and it includes a quartet of singers, entertainment, and some fine food.
Right.
Who does the cooking there? Is it
we all
volunteers?
This is volunteers
too. This is
too.
all volunteer.
Vicki has some men lined up that's going to help fry the fish and stuff.
You know, people that are just sitting home on their couch, they need to come and get involved in the senior building.
I think if they come and get into...
There's Tai Chi going on, there's dance classes going on,
exercises.
There's bridge groups, exercise, line dancing, all kinds of things.
And hand pudding, several things.
So we encourage you to join up, and I don't know the age limit. I certainly know I'm old enough. So
it's either 50 or 55.
50 or 55.
I think it's 55. I'm not. Oh, she says 50.
Well, Imogene, thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you
Our
for
time is
having
short.
me.
We encourage you to come to this fish fry Saturday.
Yes.
That's the
Look forward
10th.
look forward to seeing them there.
Come and have a good meal while everybody else is over at Bonnaroo. We'll be back.
There you go.
Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. Uh-oh. I just knocked a tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel at the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat. You know, they do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the paint works at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Cool off this summer at Tullahoma's Splash Island. Fun for all ages. Free 25-foot slides, lazy river, fun water features for toddlers. Tasty food items are available. All this and more, only $5 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Sundays, 1 to 5. Join the fun at Tullahoma's Splash Island.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're pleased to have joining us on the set now David Pennington. And David Pennington, if you watch the first of the show, is now a superstar. I mean, this is nothing compared to where David has been, and he's been on our show hundreds of times over the year. But he was on the American Pickers the other night, a segment that was taped sometime back, and you really haven't been able to talk about that because of the...
No, we had a contract that we couldn't discuss the items that they bought, and you know, that's the first question everybody asks you, what do it? Well, let me tell you something. Even though that I've been on national TV,
yes,
I love local TV stations. And if I had to make a trade, I'll just stick here with you.
David, I appreciate that, man. That is so nice.
I like local.
That is so nice.
You know how I am about local anyway. Local.
Absolutely.
But the American Picker Show was a really entertaining show, and hopefully Philip will bring up I've got a couple of lists on what Frank bought. Well, there you go. He's brought it up there. Can you read that?
I can from here, but then the normal person might be able to. So.
Well,
now this is they actually came to your warehouse,
right?
And we've done stories on this before. David's got tons of stuff in that warehouse, and this is a list of some of the things that they actually bought there.
Yeah. Well, here's my saying, and I said it to them, and they made me stop the show, and we had to back up and say it again. The only time we had to take a retake, they said that we were well organized, even doing the show. But as I was walking, I said, you know, I've got 20,000 square foot of stuff in a 5,000 square foot building. And Mike said, hold up, back up, and let's say that one more time. Of course, we did. But they came to the house on December the 15th, and there's 14 of them. and there was 3 cameras going all the time. They stayed 11 hours. So somebody asked me, after that, said, well, did they buy anything? I said, now think about this. They wouldn't stay 11 hours and bring 14 people if they didn't buy nothing.
Right.
And we did.
And they actually have a store in Nashville.
Yeah, they do have.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you something. Somebody said, well, is it pre-planned? And I said, absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. Because when Mike and Frank got there, when they finally got there and we got ready to do the walk-in, I said, do you want to make like a little walkthrough and just see? And they said, no, we don't want to see nothing until we get in there.
Right.
So I am living proof that it's not a rigged up show.
Absolutely.
And what you see on American Pickers with Frank and Mike is exactly how Frank and Mike are. Mm-hmm. They are some of the nicest people, and their crew. Mm-hmm. I mean, really nice people. But some of the stuff that we sold was like, I had a Skeeter Davis. I had her passport and letters that, who was that gentleman she was married to? The radio announcer.
Oh, yeah. Help us out now, will you?
Well,
anyway,
Ralph Emery.
Ralph Emery, yeah.
Yeah, we'll help ourselves out.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, Ralph Emery, I had a bunch of that. Then I had a book of unpublished songs. And so Mike looked at that, and he said, at first he just looked at it, but it was a lot of stuff, just Skeeter Davis personal stuff. So he said, what do you take for that? And I said, $2,500. And he said, you know how they do, you know how the trading goes. And he said, nah, I'll give you $2,000. I said, I'll tell you what you do. If you'll give me $2,200, it's yours. And guess what? It was his.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But on those 2 lists that was on the screen before, the shorter list is what Frank bought. Mm-hmm. He bought a Chicago service sign. He bought a lunchbox. Chicago, it's like a AAA sign. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about, except it was a Chicago one. I think he gave me $950 for that. Uh-huh. And then well, there it is, $950. And he bought about, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4. He looks like he bought 5 things. Uh-huh. He spent about $1,000 with me, about $1,100 looks like. And then Mike, let's see the other side there. Okay, Mike's bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces, it looks like, and it was about $5,000. Uh-huh. So Mike stepped up there. He bought a radio sign from me, and he bought the Skeeter Davis stuff. And you know what a tether car is? You remember in the 50s they had those cars, gasoline cars, little, probably about 16 inches long, and they looked like those Indy race cars. They had real rubber tires and all that, and they put them on a wire, and they're called tether cars. Okay. Remember, they went round and round?
Right.
And so I had one of those, and I had 2 bodies. And you know what a memory jug is?
No.
A memory jug is a coal miner's lunchbox. It's just an old glass jug, or crock jug really, and they decorate it up with everything from screws to crosses to anything they could find just to plaster on it. Mm-hmm. And that is the thermos bottle. That's what they carried their soups and stuff when they would go to the mines to mine. And so Mike bought, originally on the deal, he wanted to think about it. So then when he seen those other 2 bodies and everything, and the memory jug, so he ended up giving me $1,100 for the tether car, the 2 bodies, and the memory jug. Now, those tether cars, those things, the world record I think was 217 miles an hour. Unreal. Can you imagine? You know some of those cables broke.
Yeah.
Where would that car go doing 217 miles an hour?
Unbelievable.
But anyway, so Frank, they looked at my Chevelle I got. You know, I got a 66 427.
Nice one, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Frank, Frank drove that car. So we're going to put that on our Facebook of him driving the car. It wasn't in the show, but the show itself, what little part you do see, which is about 30 minutes counting the commercials.
And remember, it took them 11 hours to shoot this.
So really, there is a whole lot of other stuff. Like when he asked me about that sign, I whispered to him, I said, no, an artist made that. But he didn't put in the part that it was Walter Brennan's great-grandson, Clint Clarno. Oh. So he's the one that made that sign. But there's so much stuff left out because there's only 30 minutes with the commercials.
Right.
And even they ran over on this show.
Right.
So if they wanted to, they could probably have 10 more shows. But But I tell you what I do like about it. I got to be able to share with the people about I never got to do stuff when I was working. You know how the restaurant business is.
Sure.
So this gave me something to do with my son and I, and we really got to spend a lot of time, and we still do, buying and trading and swapping. My son goes out and scouts out the stuff, and then I'll go and buy it, or he'll buy it for me.
You've done this all your life.
All my life.
Were you intimidated at all when you get these guys from TV coming in here? I mean,
no.
That's your game.
Yeah,
David.
that's my game.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I told somebody I actually picked the pickers because I bought a sign from them that they picked up in Kentucky. So they give $150 for it, and I gave $175. I bought it out of the national. I didn't. One of my pickers bought it for me.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine. He called me up and said, "Hey, they got that sign."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, buy it." And of course, he bought it, and I gave him $25. So I paid $200 for a sign. And then when they got there, Mike and Frank both signed it, and then Mike drew a picture of Frank and it had a little caption saying oil cans coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
So actually I got a sign now, signed by both of them, plus the artist part of it.
You know, you've done this, as we just mentioned, all your life, and you've done quite well with it, I think.
Yeah.
You heard numbers that total probably $5,000 or something there that you did on that deal right there. But my guess is you got something in mind for that $5,000. That goes back into.
Be honest with you, it was about $6,000, a little over $6,000. I've already spent that $6,000 on more stuff.
I figure you have a philosophy, and I'm sorry to say we're about out of time, but you've got a philosophy of how you run that antique bid. Tell us what that is.
Here's
that's
my
pretty
philosophy.
Cool.
If you come and swap and trade with me, I don't want to be the person that's where the buck ended with me, because I want the buck to end with you if you're trading with me, because if it ends with me, you won't be back to trade with me again.
You want them to
I
make
want
money
them to
too.
make money, and I even said that on the Picker Show.
Yeah.
I want them to make money. That'll make them come back and trade or buy more stuff from me.
Right.
Then I can buy more stuff, right?
Exactly.
Let's keep it going.
Exactly. All right, that show aired. This is Tuesday, the
June 5th is when it aired.
And it aired on June the 5th. David believes that there'll be replays.
Oh, yeah, it'll be.
And possibly even be able to see it on the internet.
I think we're going to try to get it put on our Facebook, too, where they can just go to our Facebook, David Pennington, or Jiffy Burger.
Right.
And watch it again.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Yes, sir.
We didn't even touch the surface of this story, and we're going to have to get you to come back. We're going to have to talk about this again.
I'll be glad to come back. I enjoy hanging out with you.
It might take us a month to tell this story.
We'll get her done.
All right, David. Thank you so much.
You're
Folks,
welcome.
we'll be right back in just a moment with more Living.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
And I'm the Red Maiden. And we would like to welcome you to
Roosterwear.
Yes, Roosterwear is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterwear specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tie it yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with the material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterwear.
Come visit us at
roosterandredmaiden.com
to find our handcrafted designs for
the cock of the walk.
This is an American Red Cross blood donation alert.
The Red Cross is experiencing a severe winter blood shortage. There is an emergency need for blood and platelet donors to give now and help save hospital patient lives. Donations are critically needed so that patients can continue to receive the life-saving treatments they need. Resolve to make a difference and help save lives by giving blood or platelets now. Use the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS to make an appointment.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Talking history about this and that. It's Conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Rick. I almost forgot my lines there, Pat.
You struggled a little bit with that, John. And this is Pat Welch, and we're here today with segment 52 of the Conversation with John and Pat.
I'm going to do a song about the Andy Griffith Show. I wrote it a long time ago, and when you hear the name Gomer in there and Goober, well, the segment, we're going to bring back the thought about Gomer.
Okay. And this would be a great, let's make one more attempt to get people ready for the John and Pat marathon. See, the Andy Griffith marathons were the ones I enjoyed the most, Mayberry's marathons.
Yep. Well, Chapel Hill was sort of like Mayberry, so that I could identify with it.
Sure.
And I guess Tullahoma was probably 100 years ago. I don't know. You know.
We're pretty cosmopolitan over here, John.
When I was a kid, about 9 or 10, Andy Griffith was my favorite show. I'd sit and pretend I was playing a part. Mayberry was a place I wanted to go. Sheriff Andy Taylor never wore no gun, but Barney Fife kept them all in step. But I bet you if he'd ever had to use his gun, he probably would have shot himself. Gomer and Goober at the filling station made me laugh until my sides would ache. And Emmett, the fix-it man with his hammer, couldn't mend anything that you might break. They were all laid back with a how do you do, gee whiz, and a golly. If I had my pick of any place on earth, I'd have lived in Mayberry. And I'd sit on the porch and pick with Andy, make guys at Thelma Lou. Get thrown in the pokey with Otis Campbell, that's something I always wanted to do. Skip rocks on the pond with Opie, chit-chat with old Aunt Bee. Ride with Barney with a siren on through the streets of Mayberry. More rumors got started with Floyd the barber than anyone I've ever known. And Clara Edwards and old Aunt Bee kept it going on the telephone. Then Barney'd get nervous like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. But Andy'd come along in just a nick of time to calm him down and clear the air. No one ever will forget the good Mayor Stoner, Ben Weaver, or Howard Sprague. And down at the schoolhouse, pretty Miss Helen, who stole Andy's heart away. I was just a kid, but even then I dreamed how sweet this world would be if life was simple and we all were happy, like the folks of Mayberry. Man.
And it was awesome. You know, John, Andy.
Why isn't some group doing that song?
That's a good question. Why can't we get some royalty payments at the same time?
Well, it would help out.
Yeah.
It would help a man in retirement.
You know, one of my favorite scenes on any of the Andy Griffith song was, you remember a gentleman, his name was Rafe, and he was out in the country, and they had a really nice-looking state nurse show up that her record showed Rafe hadn't had his tetanus shot. So they threw him in jail. He wasn't going to have a shot. He just told me in jail, I'll stay in here, you know. So, and he got his guitar, went in there and sang a song that he made up about attending Rafe's wake, that he died. And by the time he finished, Rafe was crying. He could hardly wait to get that shot.
Well, 30 minutes, they could settle a lot of issues.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm going to ask Philip to put up the first picture. This is Claude Osteen. And he was a hero of ours over in Chapel Hill, you know, when we were growing up, because he was a professional baseball pitcher. And in 1965, they played the Twins in a World Series, and Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax lost the first 2 games to the Twins. And then the third game, he was in the rotation and won that game. And then the next time Koufax and Drysdale came back to pitch the next games, and they went up, and they finally won the series. And Claude Osteen is well thought of over there. He was a Marshall County boy. He grew up in Chapel Hill, went to Forest for probably until he was about 14, and then his parents found work. His daddy found some work in Cincinnati.
Huh.
I
did not know that.
Yeah, and Ray Eves has told me that he played ball against Claude in like Connie Mack League or whatever that might have been back that time, Babe Ruth or whatever.
Was Ray from Marshall County? Or
Ray Eves is he doesn't admit it, but you know, Ray is a Marshall County native. He's Lewisburg though.
All right.
He's south of the river.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that when you know, Claude would have been down in Chapel Hill at the time where people in Chapel Hill were just fighting and scratching to see if they could just make it to Lewisburg, and those that made Tullahoma were just like yourself, was exceptional advancement. This man made it all the way to Los Angeles.
Well, he did, and they called him Gomer because of his appearance. You know, he had that look sort of like Jim Neighbors, I guess. There he is again.
Yeah.
And you can see, I saw him pitch one time. And you see how his head is squared up on his face?
Right.
Well, the sun was coming in from one angle, and he had the bill of that hat turned over toward the sun. And, you know, he was a sight.
Yeah.
He didn't care what he looked like.
I didn't realize he's left-handed.
Yes, sir. He was good. And
so 2 of their top 3 pitchers then were left-handed because Koufax would have been left-handed.
Now, and I'm going to take this now. We transition into Tullahoma, and Mr. Bob Osteen, Robert Osteen, was my principal. And show that there are 2 well-fed boys right there.
That's corn-fed.
That one on the left has some hair there too. But anyway, and he looked like he's napping. But that's, you know, I was awake.
Well, when you eat that much, you sometimes are a little drowsy.
Oh, that's good. That's good, Pat. But anyway, Mr. Osteen was a cousin to Claude. Mr. Osteen.
That's what I was going to ask you what the
older.
relationship was.
Now, Mr. Osteen, Bob Osteen, his brother Don, Bill, and Ralph, and Mr. Osteen, they all played ball together on a Chapel Hill team that really were very good. They were exceptional baseball players, and I think a couple of those guys went on to play. Well, maybe all of them played a little college ball, a little semi-pro ball, or whatever. Yeah. Mr. Osteen, though.
That was a tough family, though, John. You know, we in our ventures to Chapel Hill to look at
when you can eke out a living on a flat rock, you're doing pretty good.
And we went. You took me near where the Osteens, all that old Osteen family. What part of Marshall County was? It was. They weren't in Chapel Hill per se. They were a little bit south, I guess it was, and it was really rocky. It was.
And
if you can live and eat on that,
there are 2 rock quarries across the road now. That shows you just how much lime. Yeah. I believe Marshall County could really supply the world with lime if they need it. But anyway, going back to Mr. Osteen, he had a sister named Betty Jane, and she was Miss MTSC at that time, Middle Tennessee State College at that moment, at that time, 1957. So not only was the guys strong and good athletes, the daughter was pretty beautiful, and most ladies in Chapel Hill are that way. I've noticed that about Tullahoma as well.
To the detriment where the men weren't very good looking, I guess.
Had to make up for it somewhere, didn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right.
And,
but that's just natural selection. Charles Darwin may have been wrong about several things, but you turn the heat up on a group, the fittest are going to be the ones to survive, and they are going to be the
Mr. Osteen
pick of the lot.
And
was.
I want to tell you that Mr. Osteen, you can never outdo him. He would always tell a story that would top yours. No matter what. I mean, I caught a fish that long, Mr. Osteen. Well, I caught one this long. You know how he talked?
Yeah.
So sometimes with fingers long like that. But anyway, he'd say, one time he said, I raised some of the biggest potatoes you ever saw. And I said, I got big potatoes too. Well, he'd bring his and I'd bring mine. He'd beat mine, you know. But I think they were his dad-in-law's potatoes, to tell you the truth. But anyway, whatever he'd do. And now, this Claude Osteen was a great ball player, and Mr. Osteen said, well, when I was playing ball, he was our bat boy. He'd always talk. Oh, it's good talking about Mr. Osteen, about Claude, and then about how you connect with Chapel Hill.
And how, don't be embarrassed about how horrible your roots were. It made them tough. That was one.
It did.
Mr. Osteen he played football, wrestled, and baseball at MTSU, and he couldn't have been but 5'6", 5'7", something like that. But I'm telling you what, he was a horse of a man.
Well, it's time to go, Pat.
It is. We have concluded 52, and 53 is coming up, and 52 will be the last time that we make an unabashed plea for the marathon. We're gonna now live on faith and trust that it will take place, John.
I have faith. I have trust.
Over and out. Thank you all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
Tired of paying for monthly telephone service, expensive long-distance bills, and all those crazy taxes? Are you sick of spending money on telephone equipment, maintenance contracts, and service calls, all for a phone system that shackles you to 100-year-old technology and your desk? Stop it. It's time to ship your phone system to the cloud. What can the cloud do for you? Bring together remote offices, workers, and employees in the field. Make sure that you'll never miss calls by delivering them to multiple devices. Modernize faxing by allowing multiple faxes to be sent and received at once. And deliver to email. Get your voicemail messages instantly through email too. And take advantage of an endless supply of customizable features. Host My Calls can deliver the cloud. All of this technology with low upfront costs and not one penny in capital expense. It's time for a phone solution you'll truly love from Host My Calls. Call the number below.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back. I've decided that today I'd bring somebody on the set to help me talk about the South Jackson Street Band, and which I've been a member of for 100 years, not quite that long. Amy Johnson. Hey, Amy.
Hi.
I'm so glad you came today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
And Amy is spearheading an event that we're doing at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, well, if you want to hand me the poster.
Oh, okay.
Dancing
Under the Stars.
This is Dancing Under the Stars. It is not Dancing with the Stars. People have asked me about that.
But you can dance with a star if you like.
Maybe there'll be some stars that show up. But anyway, this is the first ever outdoor event. Not that the band
that's totally free.
That's totally free and totally standalone. This is the first ever. So this is going to happen on Saturday, June the 17th from 7 to 10 p.m. And we hope that we have an outstanding crowd there.
Okay, let's try to explain exactly where it is. It's at the high school.
We are going to do this at the high school. It is going to be on the steps of the ticket booth area into the stadium. So it's right out front of the stadium. We're closing off John Olive Boulevard, and that's going to be, it's kind of like a block party.
Right.
So people can bring their lawn chairs. Is
there concrete?
There is. There's a
dancing?
Yes, there's a concrete
that's what I
sidewalk,
thought.
and then we have the street, and across from the street there's grass. So we have a
bring your
nice
blankets, bring your chairs.
Right. We have a nice area for picnicking, for just,
for listening,
sitting and listening,
or dancing.
And we want people to dance. There are so many little groups in a radius of about 90 to 100 miles. That includes Nashville and Chattanooga and Huntsville, where swing dancers, ballroom dancers, and others get out, go to events
that are happening outside.
Correct.
In the summer. And I think it's a great idea, and I appreciate you doing this.
Well, thank you. I was glad to do it. The South Jackson Band was up in Nashville 2 years ago at the Parthenon.
Yeah.
And that was a wonderful outdoor event, and I was so impressed by that. And I was so impressed by the happy attendees who were loving the dance.
Because there was kids from middle school
Right.
all the way through my age and older.
Right.
And they were dancing, or they were listening, or they were just having fun.
Yes, they
And
were.
I was told there was 3,000 to 4,000 people there.
There were a lot of people.
It's such a nice idea, and I'd love it if we could escalate this into something that happened locally a lot.
Well, that's what I was thinking, and I remember sitting there watching the dancers, and I'm not an instrumentalist, but my husband's in the band, and so I just thought, we're an hour and a half away. Why can't we do it here? And so this is
And we do
our
also
experiment.
do an ice cream social outside South Jackson Civic Center in July 13th, which is on a Thursday night, and the format may be somewhat similar, but it's just a different time and different place.
Right.
And you have ice cream when you come to the ice cream social, but at this event, we have vendors, don't we?
We are not having vendors, but we will have concessions
We have
available.
concessions,
Right.
okay. So you could bring your own food if you want to.
Right.
Bring your own drink if you want to.
Right.
There's no stipulation as to what you drink there, is there? Or do you know?
We chose not to go with any kind of alcoholic beverages.
Okay.
I don't think there's a restriction on somebody bringing something in their own cooler, but we are not
But
selling.
You're
We're not
selling,
vending any.
Cokes and
Correct. We will
stuff
have
soft drinks
and water for purchase,
And what time
little
does it
snacks.
start?
Okay, this thing starts at 7 p.m. It's in the works to maybe have a little dance instruction going on
that'd be great.
prior to really cranking up, but that's not a definite yet. Anyway, we hope
I've
to
been
do something
going
like that.
to a dance class at the senior building that's going on at 2 o'clock on Tuesdays today. I think it's 3 usually. But we've been working on swing a lot and working on rumba. But Valerie Lawrence, who does the teaching, she says that rumba is a basis for a lot of dancing.
Mm-hmm.
We've done waltz. But that's the one thing about South Jackson Street Band and big band. Some people get the idea that the only music we play is real old.
Right.
And some of it is. But we also play more modern music. But we do all the classic ballroom dance styles.
Right.
From salsa to waltz to rumba. And so come, dance if you want to, or just lay out on the grass.
That's right. This can be a spectator sport, or you can be a participant. But either way, we just invite everybody to come out and enjoy a free night of music and fun under the stars. And I guess everybody can pray that we have good weather.
Right.
Nothing wet. It will be canceled. If we have rain, it will be canceled.
We can't do it if it rains because we cannot get our instruments wet.
Right.
We don't mind getting our people wet.
Right.
We don't want to get our instruments wet. I want those instruments to still be blowing.
We could have singing in the rain, but
you go.
We won't have the instruments. So.
Do you dance?
No, not really.
And does your interest in big band music come from the fact that Alan plays it, or have you always had an interest in it?
I was raised that way too. My dad raised us up right, and so we have that as a background. And I and my sisters like to sing Andrew Sisters tunes and McGuire Sister tunes, and we enjoy that. So it's in my background. It's just a joy.
Well, I
so
truly appreciate what you're doing with this. We have a cute little poster. I don't know if you can see it or not. Dancing Under the Stars.
And it's
June 17th from 7 until 10. Totally free. Bring your mama and your papas and all the people that you know in your family and your friends, and come and enjoy an evening of dance and just listening, and we'll have some singers there. And there are people that don't know what our big band consists of. We have usually 20 members. There's 5 saxophone players, 4 trombones, 4 trumpets, and then a rhythm section. Charlie Hickerson plays bass. I'm trying to think. And he's from Tullahoma. Then we have Judith from McMinnville on piano, and Joe Revis on drums. We have a great group, and your husband and his crew.
Right.
We have some fine Alan Johnson, what in the world I would do without him. But I don't have time to name everybody. But these are people that love their music. They love to play, and it would be nice to have an audience. So remember this name, South Jackson Street Band. We are not owned by the South Jackson Civic Center. We are our own self, the South Jackson Street Band, and we'd love to see you on the 17th and again on July the 13th.
And we hope that this will be the start of many more outdoor events like this.
So,
all
Amy,
right.
Thanks for coming.
All right, thank you for inviting me.
We'll be back with something else very shortly.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department. Need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm glad to have with me today a friend, a fellow creative individual, a wonderful artist, George McGillicott, and he's here about his exhibit that's going to be shown at the Fine Arts Center starting, George, when?
On next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
At 5 p.m. until 8 p.m.
All right, so that's the 7th, right?
That's the 10th. The 10th. This next Saturday is the 10th.
Okay, 10th. Okay,
yeah.
So that's this Saturday.
Next Saturday coming. This Saturday coming.
Yeah, this Saturday. So when is that's going to happen? What? Fix your mic. Fix my mic? Well, I will. Hi, Mike.
His name is John. His name is John.
His name is John. John the Mike. Okay, so that's going to be at the Arts Center, and it is free admission to members, and it is $5 to non-members. Now, let's hear a little bit about George. I love your outfit, your costume, or your apparel, your clothing.
Well, these are my family colours. I'm from Ireland, and these are my clan's colours. Now, it's in honour of this show, and it's also in honour of the exhibition. I'll be wearing it at the exhibition because, I feel it's important to,
show who you are.
Show yourself, and
there's a story. People want to know the story.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a story, and the story of my paintings, which there's 28 paintings in the exhibition, and it's the story of my journey from Ireland to here. I moved here last year to marry my wife Debbie. She's a local lady. She's from.
Who's a quite lovely lady as well.
She's very beautiful, and she's
in many ways.
In many ways, she stole my heart and brought me over here, and that's why I'm here. So
that's why you're here. And you had some time apart because you had some visa problems and stuff like that.
Unfortunately, John, when we were in our courting stage, we were going back and forth, and it was like, you could only stay for 3 months. So I was doing the best I could to stay within the limits of the boundaries of the 3 months.
Right.
But I overstayed by 1 day, and unfortunately, on a return trip here in Atlanta, I was sent back home for.
Well, how long were you in punishment for that? being in the corner when the teacher catches you doing something wrong.
That's right, John. I was in the ball corner for almost 9 months, 10
9
months. 9 months. So, in that time, it was actually a blessing, John, because in that time it focused me a lot because we were apart, and an artist tells his story by his paintings, and it like a songwriter and his emotions, like a songwriter would write a song or poetry.
Yes.
So in that time, it allowed me to develop my skills and really concentrate, and I used that time then to
get better,
develop and paint a lot of paintings, and get better
and tell the story.
Better. Because the more you do something, the more you practice, the more you get more in depth into it. I hope the better you get.
And one thing I was showing George some of my pencil doodles before we came on. One of the things that's always been very hard for me, and my stuff is pretty flat, because I find that shading.
I've seen it, John. It's very good.
I know, but I mean it's flat.
Okay.
It's flat pieces. The shading and shadowing for me is a very, very difficult thing, and I'm sure the more you do that and dig into that, the better you get at it.
Absolutely, it's a skill, and you don't. I'm self-taught actually myself. Had no lessons. I learned from books and practicing, from a young age. And really only in the last 10 years I've been doing exclusively oil painting. And my paintings in the exhibition they're very eclectic. I've got different styles. Some people might like some paintings, some people mightn't like other ones, but there's something for everybody. And
do you still have the White Lady?
The White Lady?
There was the one I loved the last time you were here. There was a painting that was black. The black, I think it's black and white.
Oh, there's a series of those, John. There's about 5 or 6 in a series.
See, those pieces to me caught my eye. They're very different.
They're just black and white, and actually, I was forced to do those that way, actually, because I actually ran out of colours back. I ran out of colours back at home, so I had to use what I had. So all I had was black and white, and it actually helped me because it forces you to use those two basic colors, because you can draw a painting with just a basic color, one color alone, with different variations of colors and shades to get an overall 3D effect. So black and white is a good teacher for color, actually. Once you can do it in black and white, you can do it in color, you know, because it's just a different system.
Yeah, that's like, excuse me, Jerry House, a hero of mine that was on the radio for years and years, said his wife wanted to repaint the house, and he said, "What color?" And she said, "Oh, white." Well, how many shades of white are there? And only a lady will know that this, or an artist,
right?
The minuscule differences in the shade of white.
Exactly. Yeah, there are different variations.
I heard something pretty exciting recently. I heard that you've been accepted into an international art competition. Tell us a little bit about that. What's going on there?
That's right, John. A friend of mine recently told me about this international competition in Switzerland and said I should enter for it, and I thought maybe not. So anyway, I went ahead and I entered 2 paintings in it, and there are actually 2 of those black and white paintings that you spoke about, and they were accepted. So now it'll be for the month of June, and then they have a jury selection, and they have a public jury as well. It's in a joint venue. It's in an airport in Switzerland, and the public passing by can vote on it by voting on it.
Yeah.
It comes up on the screen. If they like it, they vote on it. So you've got a public vote and you've got the juried vote. So at the end of the day, I'm just thrilled to be part of it, because it's to be accepted is an honour itself, you know. And it's the same way with the exhibition. I'm really honoured that the Fine Arts Centre has accepted me and allowed me to have my paintings there.
They better accept you.
And I'm honoured to be here, John. You know,
well, we're always glad to have you here.
Well,
you know, it's funny.
You've always been very good to me, because
excuse me, but it's funny about art. You know, you either see a piece. I mean, now this is me. You either see it, but you either like it, or I like all art. I appreciate all art. But when I see something that just knocks me out, I mean, there's some things that just knock you out. And that black and white series does that for me. It's very, very impressive.
You know,
somebody else might look at it and go, "Nah, that's not my type."
That's right.
And that's what art's all about.
That's what it's all about. And people can see something in it, and other people can't see it. But you know, it's like every painting has a story. I mean, these 2 paintings that we have here. This one is called Journey of Éire. Éire means Ireland in Gaelic.
Right.
And what it represents, I mean, people would look at it and see a tree. Of course, it is a tree. But to me, what I'm trying to get across with this painting is that this is a very old tree. It's like Ireland is ancient. It's like Ireland is like, its history goes back 3,000 years. It's old, it's winding, it's long, but its roots are deep, and the roots are the people in the country. They are the roots of the tree. They're the ones that hold it together, like in America. I mean, you could represent that as being America, because the tree and the roots are the people. And the colours are representative of the Irish flag, which is green, white and orange, and that's why those colours are in there.
And what about this guy over here?
This guy is called, it can be a male or a female, it's whatever you like. It's called Renegade, and its name is kind of self-explanatory. It's a renegade, and it's a wild creature. And the thing that appealed to me about it was, I'm fascinated by light and colour and movement, and I tried to capture that with the movement in the muscle tone, etc., and the wildness of the horse, and untamed. He's bursting out of the dust, and he's just like he's untamable, and you know, that's Renegade, and that's what that represents. So each painting, so I hope people come along, because
28 different ones.
28 different ones, and I'll chat with them and I'll explain to them.
Tullahoma Fine Arts Center.
In the Fine Arts Centre on the 10th.
June the 10th, and then the show will be up through July
until I think it's the 1st of July.
July the 1st. Yes,
July the 1st.
George McKilligott. Thank you so much for coming. Know you're always welcome, folks.
Pleasure.
Go see this man. Find out a little bit more about George and his wonderful, wonderful paintings,
and
his wonderful wife,
Debbie.
She's right out here with us today, and just celebrate, 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 celebrate. Tullahoma Fine Arts Center.
Please
All
come
right.
along. I'd love to meet you.
All right. We'll be right back after this message. We're going to Bonnaroo.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
All right, we're back, and I've got David Pennington back up here with me, and Jeff Cuellar was going to be with us today, but he had a family emergency.
Right.
He has a wife who's pregnant, and he had to go back. I can't keep my microphone on. Had to go back to Chicago, make a quick trip, but everything's okay.
Everything's okay.
And so David's standing in. Of course, what better stand-in could we have than David, who's been involved with Bonnaroo probably since day one, hadn't you, partner?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, Bonnaroo started in 2002, and that was even way before I was mayor. So,
but you were still involved.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ashley and Rick and them, they came to the restaurant and was talking to me about it, and prior to 2002, 2001, in 99 you had Ichiku, so that drew a lot of attention to around here.
Yes.
And so they came down here and looked over the grounds and decided they could do a show. And I'm going to tell you something. They hit the ground running and they hadn't stopped since, have they?
No, sir. No, sir. And one of the things we want to talk about, of course, a lot of people know what goes on.
Yeah.
They'll have 100 and some odd acts out there on 10 stages.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of permanent stages.
Right.
They've spent a lot of money on that property over there.
They bought the property, which was a big bite, and then they've done what you said, a lot of infrastructure.
A lot of infrastructure, built stages. But what we want to talk about a little bit right now, we know what goes on, how they help the nonprofits in this area by letting them sell concessions and different things over there. And, a lot of people who used to have to go begging door to door for their nonprofits and their youth groups and stuff.
They can make more.
They can do this one weekend.
Time, more than all the fundraisers. They might have 10 fundraisers a year, but they can do the one thing
and get it done
and have the money done.
And well, what David what's been the economic impact of Bonnaroo on our county?
The latest study on the economic impact to our county is $52 million. At one time, I dare to say that they probably got 10,000 workers. I mean, they, and it's short-term work, but, it's a month before and a month afterward.
Right.
Not counting. Think about all the jobs that Bonnaroo creates.
Sure.
By them coming here, all the extra people that gets hired and, that works in the stores and stuff. But, Bonnaroo, I always told people, Bonnaroo to me is like an industry. Everybody's talking about industries.
Right.
And to me, Bonnaroo is a music industry.
Certainly it is.
And they are a big money generator for this community. And they have put us on the map You know,
Certainly.
far as where's Manchester, Tennessee, or Coffee County, or Tullahoma, Tennessee? I say most people that's ever been to Bonnaroo can tell you where do they land when they fly
Tullahoma.
those big planes in.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's one of the things I look at is the impact on the airport here in Tullahoma.
And it's good, isn't it?
And, well, they'll sell more fuel in one weekend than they sell in a month.
You see what I mean? But Bonnaroo is good they are a good partner with this community.
Oh, certainly.
They help the schools. They have this Bonnaroo Works Fund where they help with grants and, right here, this right here.
Yeah, they're working with the city and the county right now. The city and the county was awarded a $500,000 ARC grant.
Right.
Now, what's ARC stand for?
I think that grant, I don't know what the ARC, I don't know what the acronym means, but I'll tell you what it does mean. This particular grant's about water. About looping a big 16-inch water line, tying in the water line that'll service the industrial park, all of the that side of Manchester, Batesville, Casket,
right.
all of the Hillsville.
So it's infrastructure projects.
Yes, a big one.
Okay, now this $500,000 comes from the state or from the Fed?
It must be a state grant.
State grant.
Now, I'm saying that. I'm really speaking out of school.
It comes from some government agency.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so that's $500,000. Where's the rest of the money coming from?
So the total project's 1.3. So let's see if we can get the math right.
All right.
So the county put in $150,000.
All right, so that's $650,000.
Okay, and then the city put in $100,000.
That's $750,000.
And then Bonnaroo put in $650,000. So
Bonnaroo has kicked in more than the state,
more than the
city and the county. Bonnaroo's almost equaled all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, folks, that's not taxpayer money. That's industry money. That's industry giving back to your community.
Let me read this real quick statement here. I know we're running out of time, but it's really important.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So the total project, you've read all that. Here's what happened. This was so monumental. This is this statement I'm reading. That we all three received the John Wilder Rebuild Tennessee Award from South Central Development Office.
Great.
I mean, that's how important this one grant is. That's how important. Had Bonnaroo not been here, this would have never happened.
Never happened.
And we need it bad.
We need it.
It says, here's his last part of his statement. He says, together, talking about Bonnaroo and this community, we can accomplish more to help growth for all of Coffee County.
There you go.
I love that partnership.
I love that too. Folks, if you don't like the traffic, if you don't like it that the restaurants are full, think about a $650,000 gift. How many businesses around town throw that kind of money around?
Yeah.
Not many. Thank you, Bonnaroo, for all you've done for all of us.
See
we'll
y'all.
be back next time, folks.